We going that far down? I suppose. Maybe a little bit in between. Morning. It feels like I got a little bit skinnier on the end there. And gotta love a good old boring 6-panel grid. Hey, John. How you doing, buddy? I think it's just you and me for the moment anyway. Take the other guys a little bit to get on board here. Where the fuck is... There we go. God damn it. And this one should be even more, I think. Yeah. Around there, yeah. Try to switch it up a little bit so it's not just a flat grid. Oh, and the one in the middle, which is right in the middle. All right. Yeah, not too bad. Not for fuck's sake. Okay. Now, let's see. Okay. Cheekbones come out as spikes. Brows also come out as spikes, at least for the main guy. A little bit more back there. Yeah, I think so. And Styracosaurus, piece kind of thing. No, get this down lower. There we go. So, yeah. Okay. I think I've drawn them from enough angles now that this shouldn't be too much of a problem. Drawing them from like profile. Should be all right. Nope, that's not. Hey, Brain, how you doing, buddy? Yes, I'm still reeling from the amount of patriotism that was coursing through my body for you guys. So we do still need to wind down a little bit. Thus the music, you know. It's hard to draw these guys actually talking without making like the mouth go down to here. And don't forget the drool on this guy, because this guy, of course, just doesn't eat often enough. And I guess it's culturally appropriate among the clerg to drool when you're hungry. We're all monsters here. Yeah, no, if you got to drool, drool away. So I'm kind of looking in the. This guy showed up with bad news, so I'm kind of looking off to the side here. Like he doesn't want to be here. Ah, yes. I voted for Kodos. Let's see here. What the fuck does the script do here? That's a funny thing. I'd like to think they're like a very reasonable race. I mean, you know, aside from the world conquering stuff and looking like monsters. This is making him taller than everybody else. This guy seems so top heavy. Tell a story on variant covers. Yeah. I could, you know, you could definitely do like progression of some kind. I don't think it would be, you know, you couldn't have a very intricate storyline, but you totally could. And I feel like that's been done, actually. I feel like he needs to be just a little bit smaller in his face. Friggin' dragon people. That's the thing. You know I'm going to get in with the cosplay crowd because I got dragon bad guys. I can't think of one offhand. It feels though that like that has happened. Maybe not variant cover. I don't know, like more like linked covers or something like that. I can't remember exactly what the deal is. I feel like I've seen something like that before, but it would have only been like once. Okay, let's at least get the breakdowns in here. Not even breakdowns. Yeah. Let's do it from the worst possible angle, particularly for guys with spikes protruding out of their cheeks. The 1/4 view. He should be like in the middle here, considering he doesn't have any dialogue in this panel. Now we need to get a bit more of the head in here in order to make it clear what this guy is. Oop. Okay. Let's do some real penciling. And hopefully it'll take too long to get down to the bottom to have to get to that today. Come on. But don't break. That's a little better. Do they actually have like little pads on there? Oh, I didn't establish. Interesting. At least not in the last, not in this issue. And of course, in terms of continuity, this issue is all that matters at any given time. He doesn't have a metal hand. He's just got a metal arm. Okay. Man, I hope not. It's one thing if it's greats because, like, at least I know what I'm doing for those 5 hours. It's another thing when, like, you know, you got to do something like this where I'm just constantly making shit up. It's man, that wears me out. Let's make his cheek spikes a little bit more pronounced. He's the leader guy. Why not? Hasn't really been the case up until now, but you know. Yeah. Yeah. How guys like Gerhard do that? I mean, I say guys like there's more than one. I don't even know if there is. There probably is. They're just not anyone here is good. But like how he did that for like 20 years, where he's just doing backgrounds every day, like that's incredible, and probably like unique. I don't think anybody ever finds that again. I guess it helps if you're like the best at it, probably. Is there another one? I feel like there was. Yeah, a little bit. Oh, well, we go like that, and then like that. That works. Yeah, that's okay. So I'll just do all this black. That's fine. Yeah, and I mean, apparently he hated his work. He's like total perfectionist, where like he was never happy with anything he produced. Which on the one hand is probably, you know, what drove him to keep going and trying to come up, like keep trying to make another, like reach another level. No, fuck's sake. And on the other hand, it's just like you want to be like, dude, you like ease up a little bit. You're the very best that has ever been, you know. And then he'd undoubtedly provide examples of like, no, this 19th century guy. And also, there's this guy over here in the 60s, and you know, I have to do a little bit of whiting out to cover those up. Ah, fuck you, stay still. It's gonna be black anyway, doesn't matter. So in that case, just get it in. Here we go. Oh, is this thing running out of ink? Feels like it. I feel like that's rare for an 08. I never use them, except for panel borders. And why do you have them then? I don't remember. I believe I got it like a pack, or no, I think I got like 2 packs of Micron 08s when I started doing probably like the last project I was working on. Just did not think about how I would not need them that much. Yeah, but although apparently, like, you know, he by the end of the comic, he did not enjoy it. Like he didn't like the work that was being done. And he just wanted, like, you know, he was just there for the paycheck at that point, I think. To the point where, like, I don't know, I think the I don't know if it's like a moral quandary exactly, but like, you know, just the doing that kind of work, like work that good for a project you don't enjoy anymore. I think that kind of messed him up a bit, and like he couldn't work at any kind of rate anymore. It was like a rate of like 3 pages a month or something. So Dave had to pick up all the slack for the last day storyline. So most of that, the backgrounds are actually Dave. And he's working off of like, you know, I don't know if you've seen the last day issues. They're all background cover. The covers are all backgrounds, and that's because it's a full 360 view of the sanctuary that Dave had Gerhard do, and he just worked off of it for anything that needed to be done additional. That Gerhard couldn't finish up. That's going to be a while before I get there, considering I'm working in what's the word? Well, I'm doing them all one after the other. I guess that'll be when I know the show the channel's done. It's like, oh shit, we hit 300. Well, since issue 300 came out, no, it's been like 20 years. But yeah, that was 2004, I believe, 2003 actually. But yeah, that's still a long fucking time anyway. It's funny too because I moved right around that time and I missed it because where I moved to didn't have comic stores. And I think the places that did have it didn't stock like, you know, like if I were to go into Vancouver or something, they didn't stock it because there wasn't any market for Cerebus out here. I mean, you know, like I knew the places that had it in Toronto. I did not know that out here, so I actually missed it. I didn't catch it until years later. Is there supposed to be a big gap between the nose and the teeth? Not really. Oh, 186. I guess so, eh? Yeah. That's funny. That's right around when I started collecting monthlies. So like we got the phone books up until Women because that was the last one that had come out. And then we started, you know, like I think we were having difficulty finding back issues at the time, so we started picking up the monthlies. So I picked up in the middle of mines. So I kind of missed reads until like years, like well, maybe not years, but like a little while later. But like, you know, I'd already kind of seen where it was going, so it didn't really register as a huge deal, other than like, you know, it's like okay, Dave's going off again. Probably should have been reading like the Comics Journal or something at the time, but I think I was still too young for that. And yes, 186 is the feminist issue of any issues. Let's do just like that black colorist in. That, yeah, kind of. All right. Who's ready for some cross hatching? Oh, what, 186? Where he ranted for like 13, 14 pages? Yeah, it's tough, man. You kind of wish you lived in the world where Dave had some kind of outlet where like anybody would like have some kind of voice to just kind of suggest things and be like, "Yo, I think you're a little off here." Like, I remember watching. Was it Strange Brain Parts, which is an interesting title for a channel. I like that one. He's done a few like documentaries about Cerebus that I watch now, or that I have watched now, and like he was saying how like it actually like you can kind of chart the sense in it. And that Dave was a guy who he'd worked on his own for years and was used to making like making bets on himself essentially, and those bets had always worked up until 186. Okay, so we're gonna need to come up with some shadows on this thing. But like deciding to go to a monthly book, deciding to deciding to get divorced, I suppose. Although that might have been on Denny more. Um, taking the phone books um, and offering them to uh, straight to readers, like mail order, instead of going through the distributors. I think that worked out for him fine. And he like took on Diamond about it too. And every time that like he was like, okay, I'm gonna try something, and it's gonna like, or even like artistic things that he tried out in the books, they pretty much always worked, or like they worked well enough that he could like make them fly. And it's like, all right, this is the next one, and it just completely sunk him. And then after that, it's all like it all seems like a dude who made a bad point or a bad argument and is trying to defend his bad point. And like the narrative completely grinds to a halt. And he just kind of brings up little examples for like, no, and this is how things are. And like the whole anti-feminist thing gets so shrill and such a huge part of the comic at that point. Potentially. Yeah, maybe. I mean, he might have. I mean, if social media had been around and he'd been able to vent online, he would have gotten canceled long before that. Whatever that means, right? But then I guess he would have just been one of those guys who like has his very, very insular following. But I mean, that was what he ended up with anyway towards the end. The thing that bugs me the most is that yeah, he forgot about the comic being the important thing, and it all kind of turned into defending his weird point. And then he got into religion, and I think somebody else said it's like it's totally like when your friend gets into like a new thing and has to tell you everything about that thing. It's like, oh shit, yeah, it is. A little bit, yeah. Yeah. Always a bit of a shame that where it kind of ended up, but hey, at least those first 150 issues are pretty great, most of them. I'd say, yeah, most, yeah. And I did actually, I've always enjoyed Mothers and Daughters too, just like the bombast of it, and like everything coming together from the last, like 20 years. And he goes and just kind of takes a shit right in the middle of it. Hey Jay, how you doing? Yeah, no, we were. I don't remember how we got onto it. I think we were talking about backgrounds, which led to Gerhard, which led to Dave. Yeah. I was just saying how, like, I always like Mothers and Daughters. Except for Reeds. I mean, I like, the fight in Reeds is interesting in that it's not 100% just a fight. But aside from that, like, I never really gave much of a shit about the text pieces. I think I read them sporadically. So that's another thing. When that came out, it's just like, oh yeah, man, he's talking a lot here, and it doesn't seem particularly interesting. So maybe I'll just like wait till the next issue. Yeah, going home, I don't know. It does feel like Dave's stuck up his ass a lot with the actual story. Um, well, like, it feels like there is no story. Yeah, I get that he wants to. It is just kind of this long, sprawling traveling segment, but like, it's also kind of boring. But then again, I'm not, I'm not a, what would it be? It doesn't matter to me that he's co-stars F. Scott Fitzgerald and shit. Who's the other guy? What's his fucking name? Oh, Ernest Hemingway. There you go. He was gonna get it eventually. Never found that particularly interesting. The drawings are good. There's a couple of funny bits, so that's okay. But the story kind of fucking blows, in my opinion. Yes. No, I agree with that. It's a little loud. You can calm down a little bit. Yeah, no, I agree that would have been the logical, not the logical place to stop, because he said he was going to go to 300, but it works as well as an ending as anything else. I mean, like it, I don't, you remember, like there was that, like, because I tended to get caught up in the moment, so I was totally like, it kind of seems like he's ending it at 200 here. He wrote it like it could be an ending, and he did the whole fake out thing where in the text, I think, where he says how he had decided to end it at 200 instead of 300, and then I think he's like, nah, just kidding. But 200 did seem an awful lot like an ending. That's ridiculous that I can remember that. I haven't read that bit out of the comic in like 30 years. I think I like this pen. This pen's all right. I think you probably you missed the last the installment in the last live stream where I spent 10 minutes trying to figuring out how to load this pen. Next time it'll be much easier. But what is this? Something Japanese, I would guess. I mean, yeah, they don't put a name on anything, do they? At least not in English, they don't. Here. Pentel. Oh, it's a Pentel. Lademanbogen. Oh, I think that's the address. It's some kind of Pentel. GmbH. Although, again, I'm not sure if that's part of the address. I'm just reading off the wrapper I've still got out here. They don't really, yeah, there's no logos on it. There's no, what is that? Pentel GFKP. Okay, yeah, whatever that is. That's nice. And it's a good counter to the Tombow pens I've been using because those are all, I've used up all the soft brushes, the soft tips on those, I think. Or maybe it's just that they're not particular, they don't get super soft. And this one is rather loose. So a bit more like a brush. Nice. Part of it is the address. How you doing, man? Yeah, I very much enjoy my brush pens. I still got to use. I got to keep reminding myself to use microns because otherwise, I will exclusively use brush pens on a panel, and then it all tends to look pretty samey. I forgot I was going to cover this up. But yeah, no, they're much more fun. I like the lines I can get out of them. I'm not particularly great at like if you were to do the maybe like I can't do it. Where you make it thick and then thin again. I suppose I could if I did it like 100 times a day or whatever, but like, no, thank you. I'd rather just try and see what happens. What the fuck? Are we in King Arthur's court? What is going on here? Oh, there we go. And we'll just put in some whiteout lights behind it here at some point, if I remember. There's a big if. Yeah, I can see it. Yeah, and that's the ones I use, the Tombow Funosuke's. See? And they do come in 2-packs, or if you find the right site on Amazon, they come in 50-packs, which is what I got. So I'm good on Tombows for the rest of the year, probably. Hopefully. I know what the fuck is going on here. What this represents is just kind of a pattern in the background. No, it's fun stuff. I mean, if it is the halfway point between brushes and microns. It's not nearly as fussy as a regular brush, but you can get some cool lines out of it. That's the thing. If I could figure out brushes without having to worry about the maintenance, I'd totally do it. But I don't think that can be done. So as it is, they're just paint rollers for me, actual brushes. Oh, this one here? Yeah, no, this is a Pentel. What does it say? GP, GF, KP. And not, as I previously thought, the Pentel Ladamann-Bogen. 143-22339, Hamburg, Germany. Okay, you need to thicken up a little bit. There we go. But yeah, by all means, if you have them, give them a shot. I think you'd like them. I can't see you using them on the strip you're working on now, because I mean your work on that is very precise, which brush pens aren't so much. I think, or at least that's not the fun in them. The whole point of, is being able to vary the line weight, right? Yeah. Hey, Mighty Geek. That's the thing. I'm not used to. I've always wanted to know how to learn with, or how to ink with a brush, but like, again, the maintenance, I can't bring myself to do it. I'm gonna forget something every time, or 5 things, you know. So they're a nice in between. Do we are we doing those as well? Sure. Yeah, with a dying O2 and lines that will never show up, shrunken down. It's important. This is where the men separate themselves from the boys, when you're drawing the lines just for you, because nobody else will ever see this shit. You can, unless you're like me and it's not really your priority. It's just like, hey, check it out. If I wobble my hand a little bit, woo, look at the line thickness go. You know? It's always kind of experimentation with me, because I don't retain like anything with this shit. It's all saved for comics trivia, basically, or hockey stats. So everything is always an experiment, because I don't remember what I did the last time. So the fact that my shit is progressing is a little impressive to me, actually. Yeah. Well, that was kind of a priority for me, was trying to keep the, not monthly, but that schedule mindset kind of front and center, so that I don't just spend forever on a page, because I will absolutely spend weeks on a page, particularly if I'm trying to get a bunch of detail in, and I will be unhappy with it the entire time. And then at the end, it's like, yes, it looks good, but not worth 3 weeks, you know? So this is kind of it's kind of a agreement I've made with myself. So that we just we work for speed. We try for an awesome drawing, but we don't forget that we got to get a page done in like a week, hopefully. If it takes more than a week, there's almost no chance I'm going to enjoy it. But it does mean, like, you know, when you come up with something awesome, and it was done on time, it does give me a little bit of extra like joy out of it. If it sucks, I can go, well, hey, doesn't matter. I got it done in a week, and now I don't have to worry about that page anymore. Yes, no, absolutely. Yeah, the muscle memory thing. So I'm just kind of hoping that my hand is smarter than I am and can retain stuff better. And it's like, yeah, it seems to be. Okay, cool. But there is always an element of like, okay, what you got today, hand? It's like, oh, nothing today? Shit. Well, better fake it for 2 hours on a live stream then. Not counting today. Today's going fine. But I think that last one where I cut it short before I even hit the 2 hour mark, yeah, it's like, wow, I got nothing. It's always upsetting when that happens. It's like, man, we're doing this for like 30, 35 years, whatever. You don't really have the excuse of like, yeah, no, I'm not feeling it today. No, you should be able to push through, I think. Well, you can think that all you want. Nope, not you again. No, I'm losing track of what's going on back here. O2. Yeah. Thank you. Was it doing this before? Oh, like that. Okay. Mm-hmm. Man, it's a bit of a drag. I'm running out of this guy's parts of this guy's face to ink. I guess he is kind of all over the page, but still, I like these close-ups. His neck. I think his neck is bare, so it should also be that kind of scaly, crusty shit. At the moment, at least, the book is intended to be black and white. When I eventually get it to a point where I can do a Kickstarter or whatever, I think it might be a good idea to try it as a tier to come up with a color version, or like a stretch goal kind of thing. I guess that would be closer to it. But I mean, I'm drawing it like it will never be colored, right? Which means if it is colored, it's going to look really weird. It's going to have to be done like Doc Martin dye kind of style. You can't do it with like fucking modeling and shit. Because it's just going to conflict with so much stuff. But, yeah, the covers at least are I am planning on doing color because I mean I think you have to, right? The Doc Martin dye method of coloring. Or Dr. Martin, I suppose it is. Doc Martens are a little different. Which I don't understand how they work. I've never really looked it up, I don't think. I believe it's it's like the 4-color method. So cyan, magenta, whatever they say for yellow, and black, And you got to do percentages for each color you want to do, and that's how you get all of your colors. It seems like a living nightmare, but they probably do just say yellow. Yeah, you're right. CMYK sounds familiar. I don't know a lot about it myself. I never really looked into it because, you know, I don't understand color. And I think I've resolved now that I never will. So, like, get that shit away from me. Somebody else figure it out, please. Yeah, it's a whole process. I mean, like, you know, colors back then, they did really have to know what they were doing. I like the X-Force number 5, I want to say, where Brian Murray was doing it. It was like his first work for Marvel, I think. And Brian Murray, of course, is the guy who colored a bunch of stuff for Extreme in the early days, and was the original artist on Supreme. And when he did his first X-Force comic, it's like a numbered system, like for where you put like you know, you just kind of whatever area, I guess it's like separations really, and you go, you know, 5, and then for this color, and then 8 for this one over here. Only he just came from, I think it was Continuity Comics, and he assumed that the numbering was the same at Marvel as it was at Continuity, and it wasn't. So you got some really weird combinations. Hey, okay, how you doing, buddy? Maybe that's it, the Pantone thing. But yeah, no. So Brian Murray's first effort with Marvel was very strangely colored. But it didn't matter because I'm sure he made a shit ton working for Rob over at Extreme. I'd love to get him to color like a cover of mine one day, except I'm sure that would be way too expensive. But like he could do his weird Brian Murray shit. Where it's just, you know, okay, I'll leave the background completely blank for him, and he can just do like, I don't know, color transitions all throughout it, come up with like a metal texture for bits of it. I don't know. Who knows what he'll do. I want to do we're gonna do drool. I kind of want to do like a big snot bubble coming out of this guy's nose too, but I'm not gonna do that, I don't think. Thank you. Yeah, that is kind of what I'm going for a little bit, I think. I mean, because if it was going for image, it would have to be slick, and I don't want that. I want them to feel kind of, slimy and gross. Not to mention the fact, like, this is like this is going to be like 3 or 4 pages of these guys just sitting in the dark talking. I got to make the drawings as interesting as I can. This might all get covered up, which would be fine. It almost certainly will be, so I can just leave that actually. Oh, okay. And then they made it like proprietary. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, but if you're doing like, I don't know. I guess if you're doing the different the number systems from place to place, then yeah, you can't just assume that you're gonna know which what the combos are gonna be. You do still have to learn the system, right? I don't know. This is why I stay out of color. I don't need anything to do with color. Ooh, that is. It's got a little bit of ink inside my fucking glass here. It is super smart of me to put my drinking glass right next to the bottle where I rinse my brushes. I recommend it to everybody. Like more like up here. And then just like dupe, and then we're into that central horn kind of thing. Yes. Yeah, true enough. Press fill doesn't work. Control Z. Oh, I think I've got a couple fellow Canadians in here at the moment. Does anybody give a shit anymore if I say Z instead of Z? I'm kind of done. I've been like trying to correct myself forever. Everybody in the world says Z. I'm like, fuck it. By everybody in the world, I mean everybody on TV that is American. Like, I know we don't have much in the way of culture. This feels like not something that I need to make a stand on. Both cups should look exactly the same. I know, and yeah, but the original, the English version is Z, and Canadians make a point of being like, no, fuck you, it's Z, you're wrong. Just like all sorts of words should have a U after the O, like famous. Or wait, famous has. Okay, that's a bad example, but oh shit. Trying to think on the fly here and it's not working. I feel like I came up with one recently. Favorite? I think that's one. Color, yes, exactly. And it has to have the O. And if it doesn't, then I don't know, you're a traitor, I guess. It has to have the U. That's what I'm. Sorry, I'm drawing and talking at the same time is really not something I should be doing. Yeah, right? It's like you've defected. But I feel like I've already kind of halfway given up my Canadian card by the fact I'm 45 and I still haven't tried poutine because that shit looks fucking nasty. And I don't drink coffee, so have we not heard of poutine? It's just fries with gravy and cheese on top, like cheese curds though. So it's like I think the idea is that the gravy kind of half melts the cheese. And I mean, Canadians don't have anything else that's distinctly Canadian other than like maple syrup, I suppose. You know, maple syrup's pretty good, but it's not exactly like a food. It's more of a thing you put on the food. So we're all like, yeah, no, that's our national dish because we can't think of anything else. Well, yeah, but you know, it's difficult to eat hockey. I mean, you know, you can try to eat a puck, and a lot of guys do. In the middle of a game, they don't usually come out the better end of it, though. There you go. That's what Canada's all about. No, like yeah. A lot of people swear by poutine, but again, I think it's just blind patriotism. I'm pretty sure at best, it's like it's all right. And at worst, it's like, what is this mush? Yep. No, eating a hockey puck happens all the time. And yet it's still not recommended. But yeah, no, just the lack of identity with Canadians is so strong. I would say anything that sounds like it could be a character trait that most of us have, you know, you gotta jump all over that. Yeah, we're polite. We're so fucking polite. We're the most polite. That kind of shit. Maybe that's what this channel should eventually morph into. It's just me ranting about Canadians. Because I got thoughts, you know. Wolverine is how Canadians like to see themselves, and you know, I don't know. Canadian comic collectors, yeah, probably. But yeah, no, whatever the yeah, no, we like to say we're the most polite because everybody else says that shit. You know, unless you live in a big city, or you know, like anywhere really, but you know, particularly in a city where Everybody's just kind of an ignorant asshole, as per usual. Because that's how people in cities are. Not that I'm talking shit. I used to live in a city, and I still miss it, but. Yeah, I'm aware of the fly-offs. Can't have that, yeah. What will the readers think? Not that anybody has ever read this book other than like 3 people, but. Might as well take care of those now, or else I'm going to forget. Good call. No, that's true. The people in the city being less polite because they don't worry about their scoldings, but yeah. Let's see here. Glad you enjoyed that. All right. All right. Is there enough stuff isolating the eye? Is the eye big enough? Maybe not. Might need to make that a little bigger at some point. So anybody drawn today? Are we working on the entries? I have to confess, I have not even thought about mine really, other than those character designs, which I have to say, does feel like it's still kind of in character. Wait until the last minute. In the meantime, just do character sketches. Well, like political leaders, maybe eventually, I suppose, right? Like somewhere around issue 100 or something, when I'm starting to wrap up. But this is just the captain of this particular ship. So this is a bit more military, but still having to do things from an administration standpoint. These are like higher ranking officers who probably don't see a ton of combat or haven't for a while anyway. Nice. Maybe I'll just do like a bunch of character designs and then just like photocopy them and place them around. No, I don't think I'd do that. Hey, it's up to you, man, how you want to interpret it, really. I guess, the objective is to try and get a issue of some kind done. It's not really, it's not hard and fast or anything, the number of pages is variable. It was suggested between 12 and 22. If you run out of story at page 9, I think that's fine. Or if you get to page 22 and it's like, wait, this is my epic, that's cool too. And you can interpret it how you want. I think in terms of the quality of the work. Like originally, it's just kind of like doing it like a Liefeld book, where you don't concern yourself at all with how it looks. You just do 22 pages. If they look like shit, then hey, that's how it goes. But it's kind of a chance to step out of your own head kind of thing. That said, I think if you've got like a 22-page story and it's like, I'm gonna noodle the fuck out of this, that's cool too. I would like to see that. That many teeth? Not really, but it doesn't really matter. I say do it, man. Fuck it. If that seems like a fun idea for a comic, fucking do it. Ah, you're forgetting the drool already. Now we'll come back in with the whiteout. That'll take care of it. Do it, man. Make the ultimate Blood Force comic, so I don't have to. This is a little further down in the last one. That's okay, though. Were we going to be consistent? Fuck no. That is, yeah. And I like that interpretation. Like, I understand where you come from. I mean, you know, and you know, by all means, do it that way if that seems like fun to you. And a lot of dudes, I think, need that kind of deal where it's not the point isn't to make something that's awesome, like that looks awesome on every page, where every page has to be the best thing you've drawn to that point. It's just to do a dumb little action sequence and get something done and have some fun doing it. I think I could probably. It's you know interesting for me because I am kind of doing that a little bit on this, in that I'm not going as hard as I could on every little thing, but that's because I've already managed to find the balance for line count versus when the enjoyment starts to drop off, you know? I don't even remember what I just said now. Nope, I don't think so. I think it was, let's come up with something that's similar enough to what we did before to make sure we don't lose our demographic. At least the guys like Jim and Mark. Rob, I'm pretty sure, was like, I've got this awesome idea I've been sitting on for 5 years, and it's been killing me that I can't use it. And it was just like, you know, a Teen Titans reboot. But I've also got this other awesome idea, and by idea, I mean cover. And that's Brigade number 1. Yep, there is a bit of that, I think, but no, it's important, I think, to, you know, like some people never get past that. And I mean, some people can do great shit by never getting over that thing of like, no, it has to be the best thing I've ever done. Again, I think that's Gerhard. I think that's Art Adams to a degree. There's also Jeff Darrow. You know, there's all sorts of guys like that. But like, not everybody can do that, and there is nothing that says you should. Most artists, though, find a balance between putting their best work on the page and, you know, just, yeah, having a good time or getting it done on time. There's always some kind of sacrifice you got to make where you're, well, what's the word? When you're in a relationship. Fuck, I haven't been in one in forever. I don't. I guess it doesn't matter anymore. Yeah, and I'd say that's probably most of us, and it can be a tough mindset to find sometimes. You know, no one's going to tell you it's okay to slack off in your work a little bit or not do the best you can possibly do, particularly not these days, it feels like. Everyone's all like, yeah, no, this better be your fucking masterpiece until your next masterpiece, or you're not trying hard enough, which is a sin, and you probably go to hell or something. Yeah, not really. Like, what were Battlestone's powers? I don't think he really had any, apart from just like super strong and super tough. The Youngblood guys, like I said, we're all a Teen Titans reboot idea that he had, and Rob can never let go of a reboot idea or like any idea that he has. If he comes up with a cool name, it's got to be used at some point. So, you know, Shaft is speedy, I think. Combat and the fucking Firestorm looking guy who's not Firestorm. There's some kind of aliens. Die Hard is like whatever the DC version of AIM is one of their robots. That kind of shit. I'm definitely not doing one in Mother. So, but like, he didn't come up with any powers for that shit, or like any real personalities. They were all pre-existing. I do like the idea of the black and white ash can. Yes, I agree with you on that. And I think it works better when you have a color final, because then you have like two different versions of the same thing, which is some cool shit. This thing's dying. Or something. Yep. Gun dude, big dude, chick with energy or telepathy powers. Smaller, flippy dude with swords. He's totally not Shatterstar, y'all. Oh, and Troll. Don't forget Troll. He's also one of the archetypes. I like how this guy's looking. It's all right. It's funny. No, they have. Okay, I was thinking, has DC ever gotten hired Rob for anything since Hawk and Duck? But they definitely have. Yeah, he had to do. He did Deathstroke #0, which is fucking awful. And I have, and we might go over that at some point. I'm not sure if he's ever done anything else for them though. He always goes back to Marvel. Although, I mean, the reason for that is obvious because Marvel has Deadpool, which he can claim credit for forever, and will. Savage Hawkman. I don't think I've heard of that one. I don't even know why I'm looking up. I know exactly what it's going to look like. Yeah, like he didn't try too hard. The finish doesn't look too bad. It's just he doesn't bother with coming up with a different kind of cover ever. His covers are so fucking boring. No, first time I've heard of that. I just make mine really thick around them. Why not? Not sure what that one means. I mean the Joe Kubert thing. He might have been. I might take your word. I would take your word for it. It feels like we're talking shit about Joe Kubert now. Yeah, and it feels like Rob never faced criticism until he was already like 15 years in the biz. So he wasn't going to change anything at that point. Although, I mean, well, think about it. His style did change a fair bit in like the 90s and the early 2000s. And now it's just, yeah, he's just given up. Come on. I think you're dead. I think I gotta move on from you. Yeah, and I mean that's a concept he was. It's one of those concepts that he had that was like, yeah, no, that's a pretty good idea for a book actually, and he did nothing with it, which would become the pattern, right? I think I'm 102. Well, like Rob can come up with some decent concepts every once in a while. Like the absolute starting point for an idea, he can come up with a couple of decent ones, and then he doesn't go do anything with them. It's like he made Shaft bulimic or whatever, or he had an eating disorder for like 3 pages of an issue, and that was a dream. It's like well, I mean, you could go somewhere with that and say, well, no, I guess that's not going to happen, but. Yeah, it felt like Wetworks was going in a different direction with the superheroes as special forces. And then they just kind of stopped because they had their vampire deal. I don't know, maybe they didn't, but because I'll be honest, I didn't read very far into Wetworks. It didn't sound like, I mean, I'm pretty sure if they'd done something particularly more interesting, I probably would have heard about it. But yeah, I mean, none of them. That's the problem is that none of them wanted to reinvent anything. None of them wanted to come up with something particularly creative is just, it's just about making money. And you make money by drawing stuff that's familiar. That's what people want to pay for. I mean, unless you establish that thing is awesome, but that has some inherent risk with it, and nobody wants to take up that risk. Yeah. Well, I mean, like the Iron Man suit in the Marvel movies, like, man, did that thing get fucking annoying. It's like, oh, it does everything always. Oh, that's cool. There's no limits to it. Yeah. I mean, there is always the point that you don't have to use that archetype. But again, if you do that, then you're sort of breaking a contract with the reader, which is that you will draw badass superheroes forever, and I will give you money for it. So you can break the contract if you want, but it just means you don't get the money. And they all chose to get the money, which shouldn't shock anybody. I mean, they're all kind of independently wealthy now, so you can't say it didn't work for them. Even Dale Keown put out like 20 issues over, I don't know, 6 years. And he's not exactly scrounging for work or anything. So you got to assume that he did okay out of those. Jim Lee's his own special case. Those three guys, Jim Lee, Todd, and Rob, are special cases all around. Yes, I like that. Yeah, where they promise to give them what they like. That's pretty good. It's like, of course you like that. You just said that. But I mean, 35,000 for a Jim Lee thing doesn't really surprise me too much. I think I'm not going to say too much about this because this is going to be the subject of the next podcast, or part of the subject anyway. The opening 5 minutes, maybe. We got to figure out how to like actually structure a fucking podcast first. I don't know, Marvel and DC seem really overly concerned about their audience aging out. It's like we have to find new people before the old people die off. Perch is always on that, right? It's like, what are you talking about? They're in their 40s and 50s, and they're kind of making as much money as they ever have for the most part. You should absolutely be catering to those people. What are you talking about? And you kind of cut ties with kids when you got out of the direct market. So like that's all you got left. What are you doing trying to like appease the cosplayers? But that does feel like one of the, I don't know, just biggest miscalculations by Marvel and DC is just they assume that since the Marvel, whatever the fucking, the movies, the cinematic universe, the MCU, that's it. Since that was popular, that means that everybody who watched those movies will get into the comics. And it's like, nobody gives a shit about the comics. What are you talking about? Anyway, this is why I don't do these kinds of talks on like commentaries or something, because I have like half an idea of what to say about them, and I just got to trail off. Yeah, well, I mean, they do kind of, right, try to switch to match the movies, but like not all the way. Or some things get switched, some things don't. So yeah, you might get, like I think Guardians of the Galaxy is cinematic universe Guardians of the Galaxy pretty much these days. But like if you pick up something else, there's a chance that guy's dead when you come over from the movies there. Oh yeah. Yeah, not very good at synchronizing. And like when Fox had the rights to the X-Men movies, so they deprioritized the X-Men in the comics. It's like that's some fucking short-term thinking. Because X-Men will never be useful again, right? So let's just alienate everybody who ever liked an X-Men comic. We have Annihilation. I don't know what Annihilation is. Unless we're talking about the film, the one with Natalie Portman and all that shit. That's a pretty good movie. Oscar Isaac, that was the other guy I was thinking of. So I think I picked up one of the Guardians trades at one point. I was like, okay, this might be good, right? And try to read it, and it's like I couldn't get into it because it's all trying to be that snarky James Gunn kind of shit. And it's like if you could write that shit as well as he could, you wouldn't be here. You'd be a screenwriter. So just kind of stop and try and write some fucking comics, maybe. I don't know. Bugs me like everybody tries to do that shit now. Okay, I've never even heard of it, I don't think. The Annihilation thing, whatever that is. Interesting. Sure. Hey, Mark, how you doing, buddy? Okay. I mean, might check it out one day. I do kind of think my checking out Marvel comics days are kind of done though. Apart from like there's still all sorts of stuff from the old days I'd like to check out that I never did. Like the John Byrne run of the Fantastic Four. I haven't seen any of that shit. Or Teen Titans or Justice League, like the Bwahaha years. This is all stuff I'd like to hit at some point. It's like I don't have time for these whatever they're trying to do these days. Okay, fair enough. Definitely sounds like worth checking out someday. Are they still doing Ultimate Spider-Man? All right. Or is it like Ultimate Spider-Man Volume 5? I know they like to do that shit too. That's just black walnut here. Why not? And see how that looks. think we can assume these guys have extremely good eyesight, assuming they're always in the dark here. Oh, for fuck's sake. Come on. Trying a little too hard to fuck around with the brushes. Oh, interesting. Okay. I can see that potentially being good. But like, you know, like most things could potentially be good, so that doesn't necessarily say a lot, but there's all sorts of. I've checked out a few concept books that, like, you know, I was like, oh, that's a neat concept. There's that one where like everything happened in real time for Spider-Man, and he got to be an old man and all that shit. It's like, yeah, it's okay. It's also Mark Bagley, which is never really a good thing for me. I don't think I knew that. Yeah. See, the decompressed storytelling is, yeah. See, that was what I was worried about with a story like that, where he's not Spider-Man. So what does he do? Does he go to the coffee shop and hang out for 8 pages? See, I don't need to see that. Nobody needs to see that. This is not, you know, manga. You can't get away with that shit around here. Oh, interesting. Okay. See, it's got some potential. Yeah, for sure. So now it just depends on whether they can deliver it, I guess. You'll have to let me know. Okay. Well, I mean, you know, if they're willing to stick with it for a while, that would be nice. I understand they usually don't go beyond like issue 5. So if there's an issue 6, I guess it must be doing okay. Let's get this guy before I forget about him. Ah, okay. You must use the ways of the spider if you were to be successful. Oh, now we get to decide where these pantsuits end on the clerk here. Shit. I don't think I've thought about this up until now. Oh, wait a minute. No, at the beginning of issue 3, very first page, there was a shot. Let me see here. I was smart. I gave this opportunity to go for smoke. Where is it? Man, I gotta look at this shit. Ow. Okay, I don't have it. Shit. Unless it's... No, it's not over here either. And I just realized that I do have it like scanned in somewhere, so that was completely unnecessary. My bad. I was thinking that. I'm like, wait a minute, do they have pants or do they just like full Pooh Bear it? Let me see. I got it scanned in here. Hang on a second. 3, page 1. Oh, that's a bit. Okay, I covered it up too. It's interesting. It's more like they wear the suit and then the suit just kind of becomes their feet. So maybe we'll do that again. Yeah, like I think the indication is that there's like a cuff around the knee here, maybe, but it's unclear, so we're gonna keep it unclear. It doesn't serve a function to determine where the pants end and the clerk begins, so we won't make that decision just yet. Sorry, I gotta go get something. I just realized the water I put in the freezer is not going to be a complete block of ice by now. Yep. Not breaking that down anytime soon. Jotaro. That sounds familiar, vaguely. Oh yeah. Does that merge into his hair? Good enough. That's JoJo's though. That's its own deal, right? Yeah. Who's the villain in that thing? Or at the beginning, anyway. Dio, that was it. I think I was gonna get my son at one point because he was getting into JoJo's. I was gonna get him a sweater that said like it had a shot of Dio, and it was like, "Haha, you thought this was a sweater, but it was me, Dio, all along." I think he decided it was a bit too niche even for him. Oh wow. Or maybe he just didn't want to have to explain it to his friends. Yeah, people like to meme up JoJo quite a bit, from what I understand. That's a little more interesting. Let's do this one here. This ought to be easy to finish up. Where are we? 2.5 hours. I want to go for at least another hour, I'm sure. So no 4-hour panel on this page per se, but at least 1 hour on each one so far. At least it's not out of the ordinary, really. Go for it, man. I wonder if I'll even get it. I don't understand. I don't read any manga, so I bought when I went out to Kitchener, I bought 2 mangas, the tankobons, and I haven't really looked at them yet. I haven't gotten back into a fight scene yet, so that's why I got them, to see if I could come up with something a little bit different for those. I wonder if I'm going to remember, though. I kind of think I won't. So yeah, I got one volume of, the first volume of Chainsaw Man, and because I looked like it had some pretty good action stuff in it. and then one of One Punch Man, because that also looked like it had some crazy over the top shit in it, and I think I picked right at least on that one. Hey, how you doing, buddy? How do these things go? Trying to decide the physics on these things is always a pain in the ass. The fucking face horns. Maybe this guy doesn't have his big one. The scientists who were originally poking at Popo, they didn't. I don't think they had face horns. So, but then I think that's their particular cast. I'm pretty sure most of the officers have face. Maybe just small ones. I'm just like muttering to myself now, incoherently. Fair enough. Okay. I would love to read Akira, but I think even getting the trades is pricey. If I recall, I might be completely making that up. Not too bad, like $30, but or $250 for the whole set. I do want that fucking set though. Yeah. Well, I mean, part of the problem with Akira is that it does have that decompressed storyline kind of feeling, right? So I'm wondering, like, if I pick up the wrong volume, am I going to get mostly scientists sitting around or talking about mitosis or, discussing the spirituality of the cell or whatever the hell goes on in Akira? Or am I going to get, a fucking Tetsuo getting his face blown off? Because that would be cool too. Okay. But is it better in the final volume? Like, is the art better? There's a question. Because that's the purpose, right? We don't read for pleasure anymore. Purely for learning how to draw shit better. Or to tear apart on a YouTube channel. Oh, what's an alien boop sound effect gonna look like here? Okay. Yeah, I've always gotten that feeling. Okay. Okay, maybe this is one of those things that's only gonna be funny to me, but I gotta put it in now. I wonder if anybody's gonna know what that is. I might have to like open it up a little bit with like whiteout or something. Should I put the boop in brackets? Might be a little bit too late for that. I think it's a little bit too late for that. But, you know, like translating brackets. Let's see here. Yep, too far. A little caught up there. I feel like this guy should be randomly drooling as well. It's just, I don't know. It seems so like, I don't know. God, your boss comes over to use your desk for a moment, and you're just like drooling into your own lap. It's just, I don't know. But it's cool. It's all okay. And they're so civilized, guys. It's just I don't know. The dialogue is so. I don't know. It's not quite like Office. Well, I guess there's probably a big element of like just Office talk because that's what I hear every day. So I don't think I can. I think if I'm trying to make guys talk fairly naturally, that's probably going to seep in no matter what. And there's just these big monster dragons with drool hanging off their faces. Talking about mundane things. That kind of stuff I always enjoy. Let's do that for some blacks. Why not? Just kind of random tech lines, tech shapes in the background. Oh, but if I do it like that, then I already started blacking in around the fuck. God damn it. Okay. Yeah. This is one of those reasons it's advisable to fully pencil before actually going in with the ink. No, that's going all the way down here now. Hello, how's it going? Yeah, I'm not sure how to start on it. Whether I should just, like I got it in my head. If you're going to do an issue, you got to come up with something resembling a script. I was like, well, you don't have to. You can just come up with the pages and then throw in script afterwards. And I think that is actually what the idea is. I mean, you know, Marvel Method's a thing. I think I might do that, where I just draw pages of the kind of things that would be in that comic. Because I mean, you know, I've read that comic from Liefeld specifically like 4 or 5 times now. I'm pretty sure I can come up with it, like the beats. Yeah, like you draw the cool shots and then you just kind of try and draw shots that link it together, I suppose. That doesn't make any sense to me. I can't do that. I can't understand how anybody would even think they could write like that. Okay, I think I'm going to use this drawing as an excuse to go have a smoke. Boop. We got 6. the find a writer challenge. Okay, apparently I'm done writing well. That's kind of tough with the tombos. Yeah, going for a smoke. Back on the horse. Mama didn't raise no quitters. She tried. Didn't take, apparently. All right, be back shortly. Okay. We're gonna have to work on it more. The plan is that this is the last pack again. We'll see if it takes. I hope so. Yeah, sorry, man. I stepped outside for a minute. I apparently started an international incident. I can trim this thing up. All right, give me one of the plots for a challenge, or give me a little bit of it. I want to hear what it is. What am I doing here? Okay, well. No, don't use the fucking Tombow for your cross hatching. Come on. You know better. It's plat or nothing. I mean, yeah, it's not. It doesn't exactly take a big leap to bring your guys back if they get obliterated. Although I assumed with the plot that we were working with, I mean, I'm using Shadowhawk number 0 as the template, so you got to have them all swinging away lamely on ropes afterwards, right? Like, are they truly badass if most of them don't survive? And if they're not badass, then they're not good enough, right? Ah. Oh, does he attack them back at their base? There's an idea. Do the Roman plot from brigade number whatever the fuck it was. Either one of those could work. I mean, you could use any of the early Liefeld projects, issues or whatever, for coming up with a story. Like Brigade Number 1 is a classic. Guys sun themselves on the beach for the first 8 pages, and then they go and stop a terrorist attack. It's classic. Oh yeah, by all means. And truly the best inspiration is me ragging on Rob for 26 minutes. Good old Yabba Dabba Doom. What a rush. And other catchphrases. Hopefully one of these will stick. Yeah, that's a good one too. The Prophet one? It's, oh, I mean, you're not going to do any better than Prophet number 10 because it's so intense. But that's a good template to use for sure. Well, I mean, you know, we can come. Does Rob have a third plot line? I don't know. I can't think of one offhand. Because it's usually just a fight, really. And then it's just like, what are you coming up with around the fight? I mean, I don't know, like sometimes he has something, but not often. I don't think that exists. I think that's the what he's been selling on Kickstarter for the last few years and never delivered. No, it doesn't make any sense, really. A name? Oh, there's the on the Discord. Okay, posted the Liefeld name generator, I believe. Which would be funny if we get a few guys who just use the same ones, like, you know, by accident. But these guys. Well, my guys are going to be, yeah, they're going to be an infiltration unit, but you know, I mean, if you saw the character I came up with there, they're just, you know, they're regular Liefeld superheroes with gigantic guns, or a dude, a chick in a bikini, dude in a bikini. That'd be an idea. Or you know, gigantic dude. There you go. How about Hammer Strike? That works. Much more offensive. Yeah, you bet, man. That's all yours. And I only expect like 8% on royalties. So, like, you know, we can keep it fair. Um, Shadow Puppets isn't bad. It was probably in the Blood Force channel first. You probably got to scroll up a ways though to get it. Yeah. Take a look now. It's like, yeah, it's wait. Oh, this is because I'm in the 90s Ashcan challenge. It's not in there. And you got to get past all the wrestling gifts first. Sorry about that. Let's see here. I know I saw it. Okay, if you still have it, you just want to put it up again. That'd probably be helpful. Might have to just do that every couple of days. I like how that's like, you know, part of the Discord's history now. It's like, hey, remember that time Mitch just kind of lost his mind for a couple of days and wouldn't stop posting wrestling gifs? Ah, there we go. Thanks, man. Now, is that a single person, or I think it works for both? Yeah, because I could make Blood Force out of that. Looking not too bad. Okay, let's see if we can do one more of these before I just like start to swoon. A little bit small. We're trying not to make him absolutely massive here. All right. Ugh. Hmm. Hmm. Let's see here. Yeah, I keep looking at this shot of the captain here, the close-up of his metal arm, because that seems to be the best metal texture I've done so far. Yeah, it's not too bad. Yeah, I think this is going to be the last panel here. My hand's starting to get a little sore. Try to loosen up. That could help. There's only the issue of it making the drawing objectively worse. Yeah, it's a bit of a mess, but oh. Sorry, I just got to rest my thumb for a second here. I may need to call it quits pretty soon, actually. Might be before I even get this panel done. Because my hand's getting kind of sore here. Yeah, let's see here. Excuse me, we're up here. Thank you. Oh, come on. No, I should go back with one more pass with this thing. Almost gave that lizard an Adam's apple for a second there. I've been a little odd. Where does I go? It's in here somewhere. Okay. All right. Pretty close here. I gotta say, for a dumb little, like, just dialogue panel, there's probably way more detail in here than there needs to be. I keep thinking, oh, there's not enough. See, there's white space over there. So, yeah, that's sometimes how it works, man. Yeah, I think it doesn't look too bad. All right, I'm going to wrap it up there. 4 hours, or just about 4 hours, not too bad for me these days. Do you still want to try and get a couple of things done tonight? Because naturally, Saturday I intended to do all sorts of filming and editing, and did a little bit. Maybe half as much as I wanted to do. So Sundays, as usual, is catch-up day. All right. All right, well, I'm going to call that. So thanks for sticking around, guys. There's a bunch of us here. Although, I don't know if you guys... I assume just everybody's drawing. And there's no chat going... Wait a minute. Oh, my fucking God. I right-clicked something, so I missed out on the entire last few. I don't even know, like last half hour of chat, because it froze the stream. It froze the chat. I didn't know it did that. All right. And hey, Andraven, good to see you. Yeah, it's like, oh my god, I did not see Andraven come in. Holy shit! So yeah, I'm not Canadians. Like, what can you fucking do, right? Yeah, I must have accidentally right-clicked on the chat, and that just froze the whole fucking thing. All right. Well, I hope you guys. I hope it was good for you guys. Like, you were having a good conversation. I missed the whole fucking. I'm gonna have to go back and like find out what you were talking about now. I knew it was something like that. God damn it! I should have checked earlier. Anyway. So you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Probably see a couple of you in the stream. Oh, what the fuck? There's no like detail at all on this arm. Let's do it. A little bit, just not too much, but. I believe it. I believe it was a dirty conversation. Knowing you guys. And you were probably drooling the whole time. All right. I'll catch you guys later. See you in the Discord or whichever. Have a good one.